Welcome everyone to the Nordic Football Podcast. I'm Steve Wiss and I'm joined as always by Jonathan Verdugba. And we've got a special surprise guest also on this show. We have the Kalmar goalkeeper, Ricardo Friedrich. How are you doing?
Hey Steve, nice to be here with you and Jonathan. We had planned it for such a long time, and yeah, I'm happy that finally we could make it. So yeah, happy to join you guys and talk a little bit about the season, about football, and yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Ricardo. It's an honor to be with you on the show, especially after you just won the award for Allsvenskan's best goalkeeper. So we're sort of privileged to join you. You timed it well. We've been trying to get you on the show for a very long time, and your timing is perfect because you've just won that amazing award. How are you feeling at the moment? Like, especially, I understand you just arrived in Brazil. Like, you know, it must be a busy few days. But how are you feeling after the season, like, and winning that award?
Wow, it's been a lot to process. You know, this last week was quite intense. When you're playing, you're just thinking about next game, and you know you wanna just keep performing and have solid matches and achieve, your club's goal. You know, so after that, when you finally get the last whistle, and then comes all the emotions, all the feelings. It's been a lot this week, but I'm definitely very happy, exhausted, tired. As I said, I just landed in Brazil this morning with my family, but it's been fun. It was a great season for me. You know, coming back from a period where I wasn't playing, wasn't very happy playing the time before, and yeah, I had a good match with Kalmar, and it was definitely a great season. So I'm very very thankful, and just like I said, still processing everything, and then just I would just kind of relax and enjoy this moment. Forget a little bit about football because it's pretty intense season. And,
I think this will be the last.
Yeah, for sure. It's good that
after this you can forget about football for good. For a few weeks.
We can talk it all now.
Yeah, we can talk it all out.
And then I can just.
So the plan for this episode is we're going to sort of start with the Allsvenskan goalkeeper of the year, Ricardo. He's going to talk to us about his life and also his experiences in Swedish football, also Norwegian football, because he's also played in Norway, and also played in Finland. So you know you are a Nordic man, really. Even though you're from Brazil. So I'm going to lead the interview for any listeners just wondering how it's going to go. And then Steve's going to come in as well at some point and ask some questions as well. So we're going to cover Ricardo's whole career. And he's very kindly agreed to join us for the first part of the show, basically. So we'll also talk a little bit about this end of the season and maybe get one or two opinions from him about players that he will have played against, worked with, managers, etc. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this format. So Ricardo, I'm just going to start by asking you, like, when did you sort of first fall in love with football? Obviously, the World Cup is coming this week. When did you fall in love with football? What's your first sort of memory? Because you told us just before we came onto the recording that you're from Porto Alegre. So just want to know your first sort of memories of football. Like, what made you fall in love with the game?
You know, I have an older brother. It's only the two of us, and he was always a goalkeeper. And I remember just as soon as I start to, you know, be a little bit more independent, I think, like, you know, as a kid you do everything, but I was just this boy who was just following the older brother all the time. I just want to do what he was doing, and he began. He wanted to be an outfield player, but he couldn't manage. He didn't have the skills. So in the weekends when we'd go to our grandma, he would put me on goal, and then he would strike the ball, you know. And I just love doing that. I remember we always talk about those moments, and for some reason I like to play as a goalkeeper. You know, I always like to play as a goalkeeper. And coming from Brazil, you know, I didn't see him playing much, but you know, we had Tafarel, that there was my brother's biggest idol, and like he's also from south of Brazil, and he, for me, was one of the greatest ever. I think he just brought the game to another level with his technique. And then growing up, seeing my brother also taking steps in his own career, and he left our parents' home early. So as soon as he did, we have like four years difference. He's 4 years older than me. So I decided that's what I want to do. I don't want to, because I'm in Porto Alegre now, the capital of the Rio Grande do Sul, the southeast state of Brazil. But we are originally from Candelaria, a very small town. It has like 30,000 people there. And so from our hometown, nobody really made it, So when my brother left and he was, chasing his dream, and I was like, looking up to him, and I want to do this, I want to do that as well. And so it was like always my plan B, and for some reason I continue taking steps. I left when I was 14 years old and never came back. So I've been doing this for over half of my life. I'm 29 now.
And Tafarel is the, I think, 1994 World Cup goalkeeping winner for Brazil, right? Of the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Famous goalkeeper.
Saving penalties.
Did you sort of like? Did you ever play outfield at all? And also, they say sort of. I know Steve loves goalkeepers, and he's a bit crazy. They say you need to be a little bit crazy to be a goalkeeper. Like, is that true? You know what I mean? Do you have to be a bit...
I grew up with that kind of mentality, with that kind of idea, and I definitely get it after a while, because you need to be different at least. So, but like you mentioned, Tafarel, I also did the academy in his first club here in Brazil as well. So it's a well-known academy for goalkeepers. They also produce Alisson. Wow. So I know Alisson pretty well. We worked together for 2 years, say. But he's 1 year older than me, and he was always playing for the senior team already. But so I mean, things just happen in a way that it's not usually, here in Brazil, the competition is very, very high if you want to become a football player. Maybe for goalkeepers at that time, not as much as a striker, but I guess for the new generation now, we're having Alisson, Ederson, such a unbelievable level. You have more good goalkeepers from Brazil in the future. So it's been a long journey, but it's fun to remember all those things.
And I just want to ask you there before we sort of move on, start talking about your career in Kalmar. You just mentioned you were at the same academy as Alisson, and obviously Ederson as well is kind of like a goalkeeper who, you all have characteristics of playing with your feet. You know what I mean, being good with the ball in possession. Is that something that you learned at that academy, or is it just like chance?
Yeah, just you asked me before if I played as outfield. I played futsal. Yeah. So futsal, the goalkeeper is pretty much involved from very early age. So in my hometown, there's this football club that would play in the weekends, but to keep fit and training, I had to play futsal during the week, and also playing a lot of other sports because I had a scholarship in this private school, just because I would play all kind of sports. So I think that helped me to develop my body and my physical condition and the skills. But it's not like I don't consider myself with that much technique. Maybe for a goalkeeper, yes, but kind of German hip, because I have a German roots. So I'm not like that mobility, but I love to be involved in the game, not only by saving, and I think that's the future. You cannot go back after Neuer. You can't go back.
And just finally on this point, like obviously you said Alisson's a friend of yours. Are you still in touch with him at all? Do you speak to him, or and what are your opinions of him? Obviously playing at such a high level at Liverpool. in England. Obviously,
he unfortunately, he has a different routine, and his life must be crazy. We don't really talk much, but yeah, we follow each other in the social media, and when he achieves something, I always go congratulate him, and so does he. And but he is taking huge steps as well. He was always very amazing technique as a goalkeeper, but he was never that great with the feet. But when he moved out to Brazil, he just developed that skill in a certain way that it's impressive. So at the moment, for me, he's the most complete goalkeeper, and it's been for the last couple of seasons. So
fantastic.
And also great guy, unbelievable, amazing personality, and it's not by coincidence that he has reached such a level. So I think he really deserves, and I'm gonna be rooting for him in the World Cup.
And Steve, you love a good goalkeeper. Who do you think will be number one for Brazil, Ederson or Alisson? And do you have a question just related to goalkeepers? Because I know that's your one of your favorite positions. Steve always. Ricardo, Steve always, whenever we talk about games and stuff, usually I'm good at analyzing the midfielders, because we used to work together for a data company that does football. That's how we met. And whenever we do analysis, usually I'm good at analyzing the midfielders or the strikers, and Steve is always goalkeeper straight away. It's usually his position to talk about.
I do love a goalkeeper. I really do love a goalkeeper. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Ricardo. And I think probably the first question that comes to my mind regarding goalkeepers is, do you think the goalkeeper role has changed since you started playing professional football? Because I think maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, it was more about you've got to stop shots, your reflexes, prevent goals. Now you see all these sweeper keepers, and you've got to be technically good on the ball, things like that. Do you think in your time as a professional footballer, that part of the game has changed to an extent that you just have to be good with your feet now a lot more?
My personal experience, it has changed from the academy. I had this coach, André Jardini. He was the coach who won the Olympic Games in Brazil, first time ever. And he had this idea already. He even said that at some point, if my keepers cannot play with their foot, I'm gonna put outfield player there. So I had this idea, but of course, after I became a professional, change it and so on, you have to kind of adapt. Not all coaches will back you up if you play that way. There's some coaches just want the old style goalkeeper, just play on the line, play solid, safe, don't take any risks. But yes, Steve, I totally agree with you. It has changed. It has changed, and will continue changing, because now when we talk and we analyze, at least in Kalmar, with Henrik Rydström, we talk not only about stopping goals, but stopping assists. So you wanna just avoid any kind of risk, any kind of dangerous attack. And when we are under threat, I'm just as another player in the pitch. So if I can help sweeping, or I'm there. I don't need to be hanging on the line and just expecting, okay, the ball is going to come here and I need to save it. So I think it will take a little bit longer. I think it's not now that it will change completely, but I guess in the next 10 years you won't see the old style anymore. Honestly, I don't think it can go that way, because we are involved in the game, like you say.
It's a fascinating question.
I have. I think if you look at my numbers, I have not as high touches as my midfielders, but probably more touches than any other midfielder in the league. Or let's say, at least not the top 5.
Yeah,
so
we do have a few statistics for you, so we're gonna ask you a few questions in a bit about your numbers.
So the game is quite intense for me. It's wow, I have to be on all the time, and that's great. Actually, it's easier the hardest game is the ones that you're not involved at all. And then suddenly comes one ball and you need to, it's going to be the ball of the game. Okay, we'll have some games like that, and because you face opponents that play for that for those situations. But at the end, if you look at in general, you're going to be very involved in the games, very involved.
When did you just mentioned obviously Henrik Rydström, and for those who don't know, maybe who maybe new listeners or something like that, Kalmar are a very possession orientated team. I think highest possession statistics in the league this season, if not top 2, definitely. And Henrik Rydström is a manager who we wrote about as well. We have a partnership with Scout, and we wrote an article about Kalmar, obviously yourself and the team earlier in the season. When did you first get the call from Henrik Rydström to join Kalmar, and what was those conversations like? What did they sort of expect from you when you had that? When you had that, how did the move come about, and what were your conversations at the beginning and your first impressions?
Yeah, it was last year around middle October to the end that we negotiation got very intense because there were other clubs interest, but I don't know. There was something with Kalmar, and my moment at that time. I've said many times this season that I moved to Kalmar to reconnect with football. I wanted to play again, enjoy the game, feel alive, remind myself how much I love play football. And when Kalmar approached me and I did my research and look how they played, and I started watching some matches as well. I say like, wow, I think I can fit in this. And now I understand why they want me. And then from the first conversation with Henrik, it was just like, sometimes we would say like, I think we'd like have to hold back because it felt so good from the beginning, even before I played. Like, okay, this is gonna really work. And now I remember when we saw last time at the galas in Kalmar, we both agreed that we had very high expectations. But even though we have overachieved everything, we have overperformed and comparing to what we have expected. So it's a great feeling. But it was something that we had time to sit together, talk to. He sent all his ideas about football, how much he wanted me to be involved as a goalkeeper from the very beginning. So even before I moved to Kalmar to sign the contract, I already knew, his mind in a certain way. And he's like that, very didactic. We definitely we feel like we go to school every day because we sit and we study, we make tests, and then we play football as well. But we definitely analyze everything and go through all like the principles and define them, question everything we do. So it's a great environment to be in, and that moved me. I felt like, wow, this is the kind of place that I want to be, and because I can feel myself taking a big step in my career and my playing style there. So it was right, I guess. At the end, seeing now, it was everything.
When you had those conversations and you had a great feeling, you thought, okay, I'm going to join Kalmar. What was the sort of difference? Like you said, it's like going to a school. What's the difference between that and say maybe other clubs that you've been at in the past? Is it the fact that do they do more analysis, or is it like more training, or what are the little differences that you would say at Kalmar? Because just for the listeners, I know we actually have quite a lot of Kalmar fans who listen to us.
Yeah.
And they always comment, so there's definitely going to be some comments on this show. That's some good shout out to Oscar Hall. What the key little differences? Because Kalmar this season, just before you answer, Kalmar this season finished obviously 4th in the league. Just missed out on Europe, but had an incredible season, really. Like I said, best possession team in the league. Played a really clear style where you keep the ball, you build from the back, very very sort of interchangeable, modern sort of style of play. some people have called Rydström the sort of the Pep Guardiola of Sweden and things like that. So what are the little differences compared to, say, like other clubs you've been at? Maybe just like you said about being at school kind of thing that helped you.
I mean, when I was in Norway, we had a similar environment or similar idea about, or like with Kjetil Knutsen, because I was there from the scratches, like from the Ubos League in 2017 to second place 2019, and so there was like a huge change in inside the club. You know, Bodø was just in a bad moment. They just had their 100th anniversary and they got relegated, and people were not involved with football in the community. So it was like very, it felt like a funeral when I walked in. And then came Knutsen, changing the idea, changing the mentality, changing the culture. But that takes time, you know. It really takes time, and I was able to see it from, like I said, from the very beginning, and that in a way changed a little bit for me, because as we were taking steps, Bodø Glimt was starting with their staff, with their team. They're starting to really go more into development. You know, like they really want to take the best from every player, and so on. And then they would just you have like individual analysis. You would have a clear idea how to play. And it's not by coincidence that they have achieved what they have achieved in the last couple of years. And then Kalmar came with that, but with something extra, because I don't know, it's some. I was even asked the other day when I was at Galas in Stockholm by this journalist, and he asked about Henke because there was rumors that he would leave and so on. And he didn't win the best coach in Allsvenskan. And I just said, this guy, he's the best coach, because the instructions he gives, the clear message for the players, I never seen that before. You know, you might say that sometimes it could take the individual part from every player, but when we talk about a smaller club with fewer resources, very like small squad, so you need to maximize. And that's something that Rydström is doing in Kalmar and his whole team, by going in every single detail, I can tell you. And I felt it this year, and I felt like we've even giving some report now. I was flying from Frankfurt to São Paulo in the middle of the night, and I had this email from him, just how do you analyze the season, your own performance, the squad's performance. That's the way we work. So I was just replying and going into all the things that we have done this season, you know. So this is the kind of environment you have in Kalmar. So if you're open-minded and you have a clear goal, you're gonna reach your best. You're gonna reach your full potential. So I think that's the biggest difference in Kalmar.
What did he say to you about your own game when you first joined? You know, like, were there areas you wanted to improve yourself, and also were there areas that he maybe said to you, listen, you need to work on this maybe to be even better? Like, were there certain maybe little things that you could maybe talk about that he maybe said to you, or the team in general as well, not just maybe yourself, but, you know, to get the style that he wants?
Mm-hmm. He like I said, he had a clear idea, and we are part of that because we discuss everything. What's the benefit? We decide the players. We want to play with the ball, and then you talk about what's the benefit of that, and what can be bad if you have the ball too much. All those things, you know. And for me particularly, I have a very good goalkeeper coach as well. Done. He's a great man, and I think we also had a good match. So he wouldn't go that specific. He had a clear, Ricardo, you're gonna be the leader of my defense, and we're gonna do everything we can to prevent goals, to prevent assists, to prevent any kind of dangerous attack. We'll have the ball. We'll take risk, but not risks. We're gonna just play simple, because at the end is you don't need. You make more mistakes when you try to do something that we don't train on. You know what I mean? So if you watch from outside, from a different perspective, maybe you think, oh, this is too risky. Maybe, oh, there was small margins. But if you train that way every day, yeah, you're gonna succeed most of the time. But the main thing about him for me was that he gave me all the trust. Because when I moved to Kalmar, there was like high expectations on me. In the beginning, we didn't. We dropped by Gordon in the cup, and there were some things around. How it's always like, Ricardo he came, but he hasn't added much to the way of playing. You get all these things from outside, but inside it was always the clear message that we believe in you, we know your skills, we know your potential, we trust you, and do your game, play at your best. So I think that was one of the reasons that I could have the good performance I had this season. But always working with the defense, we analyze blocking shots, positioning, different layers in the cross coms. I'm very offensive, so okay, if I go to the ball, I'm gonna make clear I'm going to the ball, so you guys gonna protect me, gonna take away the opponents around. So you have, of course, on paper it looks amazing, everything perfect, but you have to see how it's gonna be on the pitch. So we had a time for some adjustments, but the thing about our group, and I think the reason we succeed, is because everyone embraced the idea. We even had this fika idea that to bring I don't know if you heard, the Swedish fika every time, and everybody they loved it. And there was something about it. We just changed the culture in a way that suddenly we were like, okay, we don't concede, how many games we don't concede a goal at home, and that's a great feeling, but sometimes it can be too much as well. But so I think that this is, I'm just trying to summarize the kind of environment you are on. So that's what Henke is all about, to improvement, and let's take next step. Let's move on. Let's go forward, believe yourself, and reach your full potential.
For those who don't know, fika is kind of like an evening meal, isn't it? Kind of like a snack, like tea, kind of get together.
Yeah, it was new for me also when I moved to Sweden. But they can have fika at any time. I thought it was like something like afternoon,
exactly.
No, it can be in the middle of the morning. It can be at evening.
Exactly.
Just let's hang out, drink some tea, coffee, and have a sweet. That's the thing.
Is he like would you say Henrik Rydström is like a strict manager? Because it sounds like you, on one side, he's quite strict in terms of you got your analysis to do, but at the same time, maybe you said about the fika building a good atmosphere. What is he? Because his personality it's hard to read his personality, I would say, on the touchline. Sometimes I feel like, he could be quite hard, if you know what I mean, like maybe, or is he quite soft, or, because for the listeners who don't know, he's at the moment, obviously, like you just said now, he's being linked to Malmo, for example. There's a lot of reports saying that Malmo want him to be their next manager. You obviously beat Malmo away last season. You beat AIK. You beat like so many of the top teams in the league as well. What was the secret to this Kalmar success, like you said? And is he a nice guy, or is he a bit, a bit mean?
No, he's a nice guy, but he's a great coach and a great leader. He's a great leader. He's a guy that inspires you. So he knows when to push you, and also when to give you support, give you the confidence that you need. I think he has a good balance. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell you, because our experience together it's been great. How it's going to be next season, I don't know. Like it's
of course.
but he's a great. He has a kind of humor and a little bit ironic sometimes, but in a good way. So we have like the inside jokes in the meetings. So we also have the joke about being a long time in the club's facilities. The entire day we're there, meetings, training, and so on. But we see the outcome of that, and then why not? If we have to sleep at the arena, what we do, because it's worth it. Yeah. So I would say he's a great leader that just inspires everyone. And so you wanna play. It's kind of coach that you wanna play for.
You want to impress, and a word for sort of Kalmar fans, because like we've been doing this podcast, 5 years or so, and I'd say Kalmar fans are very they're very passionate about their club, very dedicated even to this podcast. Like always, every week they have a question, which is like really great for us. And I don't know if you know a famous fan called Ove Pettersson. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yeah, of course. He's a legend. He's there every training.
Every week, for listeners who don't know, every week Kalmar have a fan who does a little video and basically sort of says like "Vin Kalmar Vin," which is
he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, isn't he?
No, he's passionate about football. Is like he like I said, he's 90% of the trainings. He's there. So in the morning, you go to the pitch and you see him, and he's there. Like same guy you see on the videos, like with such a positivity, like his vibe is just like, wow, this is so nice. And he's a great character for what Kalmar FF represents to the community. But I need to say that I've been saying in English, of course, club, but it's not a club, it's an association.
Okay.
They have this the fans don't like to call it a club because there's another football club in town. So
I never knew that at all. I've got to be honest, I never knew that one.
Football Forening. It's that's what it's.
FF.
FF. So I said it. I think I tweet once like something about club, and then like right away one fan is like, "It's not a club. It's a Forening. It's an association, it's organization." So like, okay, then I know. But it's not. They are very passionate about football. It's a town that I got so impressed. I live in Norway for 3 years, and I didn't get the same feeling as I get here in Kalmar after one season. That you go out and people are just like, especially the kids, and I felt just so welcome. And they were like so involved with football. It was massive. Of course, now in Bodø, everybody knows about Bodø, but. I must tell you, 5 years ago, it's not like that. You wouldn't see a single flag on the window. So I love Kalmar for that, and it's also great city. Wow, very very nice city. I'm happy.
And what about the let's talk a little bit more about your teammates before. I think Steve might have some questions about Norway. I mean, you've already talked a little bit about Glimt, which has been very interesting. I mean, I'm a bit sad at the moment because in the Allsvenskan Fantasy League, Steve has actually beaten me this season, which I'm very sad about. But one of the key players from the season was obviously Oliver Berg and Sebastian Nanasi, who came obviously on loan from Malmo. Just tell us about some of the sort of players. I mean, you've got a really good defense behind you as well, 14 clean sheets. Lars Setra is one who I had in my team for quite a long time, and you seem to have a very good sort of back line as well. So could you just tell us what the atmosphere is like with the players? They all seem to have improved this season.
Yeah, of course. Again, it comes back to what I said before. I think with this kind of environment and with the right profiles, like Oliver Berg is such a leader for us and such a great player and professional, so humble, always open to learn, as everybody else in the. Sometimes I think we are too humble. I usually say to the guys, we need to we are great. I'm telling you, when we face any other team in this league, they are afraid to play against us. But we have these profiles, like Lars as well, what a central defender, you know, like a whole backline. Think about David, the Iceland. He's great. And then we had Axel Lindau, impressive with his skills. Of course, this season adapting a little bit as a right back, and but he's so offensive. Also was a great tool for us. And then we had Johan, who came from Sirius at New Henke, and it felt like I remember after I think 2 games I went to him and said like it feels like you always been here, but he just joined after the summer, you know, like. And then of course Sjosted, Rasmus. I mean, in general, we had a group that has taken steps together. So I felt like most of the players, or maybe all the players, could play at their best level, you know. So I remember having this feeling in Glimt, and I remember players leaving to bigger leagues because of that. Of course, they're great talents, but if you are playing in a team that favors you, or that you feel the importance of your own skills there, for sure you're gonna play great, and then everything is possible.
I'll tell you what, I've got a very interesting goalkeeping question for you here, Ricardo.
Okay.
I've noticed that in the Allsvenskan, certainly the last 2 years, set pieces seem to be becoming an even bigger thing. There's some seriously specialised long throw takers in particular. I mean, you just got to look at the Varberg match on Sunday. They scored a goal there, effectively them to stay in the league. And by the way, you definitely will have more touches than any Varberg midfielders, because they're just so Route 1. Sorry, Varberg. How do you have a plan in place to deal with set pieces and specifically long throws? Because this was a thing over here when we had Rory Delap at Stoke. Everyone was like, how do you deal with it? And some goalkeepers were terrible. But it feels like the best goalkeepers in Sweden this year, Samuel Brodin, yourself, you seem to have a much better action plan.
Yeah, definitely some teams just have that as the biggest threat. I think in the beginning, Hammarby scored 80% almost of their goals when they had a great run, if I'm not wrong, from set pieces. Long throws, we had a hard time against Mjällby. We conceded a goal that we shouldn't concede at home that game. And it's very hard because, like you said, you have the tactical idea, but at the end, it's so much about stepping up, take responsibility for your own role, and knowing that, okay, I trust my guy behind me, so I'll give him support in case the ball is not mine. But you have to link with the defense in a way that, it's like, it might sound silly, but like you have to decide, okay, we're not going to concede this ball, we're going to clear this, doesn't matter how. Because if you get a little bit sloppy, you're going to end up conceding goals. And I think we were the team that conceded the least, one of the least goals by set pieces.
Yeah, exactly that. That's why I was interested. But if you have specific, do you have a set piece coach, or do you just really work?
Yeah, we had Stefan. He was very into it, so we will have like a clear analyze. But we had principles. So it's not like, okay, we can adapt depending the opponent, because you try to see what's their target, what they want. If they go for second ball, like make the runs, try to disturb the goalkeeper and so on. But we have principles, very strong ones for each zone of the area. And also I must be very active, and then I think that also can give the defenders the feeling, okay, we got a goalkeeper that is going to come here, and then I got more confidence to deal with that, because I know even if I go and I say, not that I miss the ball, but I got the support. I got the players around me protecting me. So that's what we do. Okay, it's in your zone. I would take the ball. Players around me would just protect me, So we could just gonna clear this ball from here.
You have a very interesting career, actually. Obviously, you started off over there in Brazil, and you moved up to Finland to a team called ROPS from Rovaniemi, and then to Bodø Glimt. I mean, it's incredible that you actually have played for two teams effectively inside the Arctic Circle. I think Rovaniemi is actually just very slightly south. More known for its club called FC Santa Claus, actually, one of those weird names in football. And then obviously moved to Turkey, to Ankara Gucu. I'm terrible with Turkish pronunciations. And then to Kalmar. Obviously at Bodø Glimt, you were there for a couple of seasons under Kjetil Knutsen. And your final season there, they finished second. Did you see coming what was going to happen to Bodø Glimt over the next 3 or 4 seasons, that they would be so strong? Could you see that coming?
Not really. If I would see only the football part of the club, yes, like the staff, the coaches, and so on, they had a clear idea. I didn't feel that much from the club, but I think they learn a lot through the process, Bodø Glimt, and they were spot on some of their decisions, I guess. I mean, nobody could predict that.
No, you couldn't.
It's just like, okay, now when I look back and I've been there, I can understand how it happened. But at the same time, it could have gone very bad, because I remember our first year after getting promoted, 2017, 2018, we really struggled to stay in the league. And then all the main players left for 2019. But that was the decision from the club that maybe made the hugest impact, because then the young players had to step up, and they were ready, like Jens Petter generation, and then you had like Patrick Berg, and you had Marius Lund, all the players that now some players also came back, after having their moves out. So I didn't see that coming. And for me, it's not the reason that I left. The reason that I left, it was just because I felt I had reached. I just reached my
peak.
Yeah, my peak there. There was nothing more that I could learn from Bodø.
Is it hard living in the far north of Finland and Norway? I mean, that is really right in the Arctic Circle. Is that a difficult experience?
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah, it's of course, coming from Brazil, it's a massive change. Not only the temperature, but the culture and so on. So when I moved to Finland, I was 22, and I didn't know any English at that time. So remember, there was no Brazilian teammates, or no one would speak Portuguese. So I had to, work my ass off and try to learn and communicate from the beginning. I remember I just arrived in Finland just playing, that like before a week there, I was already making my debut, and playing was like very intense, but I don't know. I felt like I've taken the right steps, even though like moving from Brazil, but I needed to play. I needed time playing, and I always wanted to play in Europe. So when I had the chance to go to Finland, even though it's not a football country or whatever, say, that's the chance I have now. So let's take it, and then from this one, if I do well, it's going to bring me another opportunity. That's how I've been, in a way, facing like my entire career. Always aiming to play at the highest level I can play with my skills. So looking back, it's of course nice to see where I came from and where I am now, but I still feel like I have a lot to give and to learn. So as long as I have this feeling, I wanna continue playing. So I hope I have at least another 10 years playing football. So, but at Glimt, I had to move. I had to move because it's not like I didn't have any problems with the board, but I just felt like they didn't appreciate that much what I've done, and I always had this feeling in Glimt that I own them because you came from Finland and we gave you the chance, but I really know I contribute a lot for what they built there in terms of changing the culture. And when I felt like, okay, this is my time, it was great, and I was very happy that they succeed. Many could have asked, okay, do you regret? No, not at all. No. Even if I knew that would be the way it was just like, I need to, because there were other things for me, other priorities. As a football player, you have to look after yourself, your family. You don't know tomorrow. And if you play in Nordic countries, it's like the income. It's not there. Yeah. So there are many factors. My last year there was very tough in terms of pressure. They really wanted to sign a new deal and they push. But Kjetil was he respect me and he said, it won't affect my decision. It's your call if you want to wait. And I was very close to go back. At the end. But then I got an offer from Turkey and I decided to go for that.
Do you feel like, just very quick answer, like maybe one word or one sentence, do you feel like you have a good relationship with Kjetil still now, or do you feel like it ended in?
I hope now definitely we have a great relationship. Even before I moved to Kalmar, I had other clubs and I have asked his opinion. So I mean, he's a man that helped me a lot, and I respect, and I couldn't be happier for what he's achieved. I think he's an unbelievable coach. And before Henke, it's a great man as well. So a man that I had him as a friend as well. So
you've probably worked with two of the best managers maybe in Scandinavia at the moment, or two of the best,
No, definitely. That's such a privilege, and I think I have learned what I need to learn from Kjetil, and now I'm trying to, take the best I can from Henke. I hope we can work together for longer.
Okay, Ricardo, we're not gonna keep you too long because we said to you 10-20 minutes.
When I start talking, it's I'm telling you, it just brings me so many memories. At this moment, it's also.
We don't want to take up too much of your time. You just got back with your family and everything. We're going to ask you some quick questions, before we ask you your final few questions. So, the first one I want to ask you is, what's your favorite fika? That's a question from at Oscar Hult on Twitter. What's your favorite?
Wienerbrod. I don't know how to explain that, but Wienerbrod is amazing.
It's like a bread, right? Kind of bread.
Yeah. It's kind of a croissant, but it has like a little cream on it. It's very nice.
So who's going to win the World Cup?
I hope Brazil. I think we have a big shot. In a very good shape. Talked with Steve before. I think it's going to be a great World Cup, and we hope that football wins at the end. But Brazil, definitely I'll be rooting a lot from here. Get quite anxious now.
Norway or Sweden or Finland to live?
Sweden, no question.
What is your favorite food in a Brazilian churrascaria? Like, what if you had to choose one from a Brazilian traditional dish?
Picanha. You heard about picanha? It's amazing. But I also love chicken heart. I know you don't.
You love chicken heart, yeah. We talked about that.
Don't underestimate the chicken heart. It's amazing.
Not for me, but definitely for Meatman and Ricardo. What's the other questions I've got for you? Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo.
What's the other question?
Messi is from another planet. He's not a human being. Ronaldo is like hard work guy. I relate to that.
Yeah. Who's the best player that you played against in Allsvenskan this season? Like that you came up against that you thought, wow?
I have to say Jeremejeff. Yeah.
You can say three. You can say three if you want.
Three. Play face.
Jeremejeff, Häcken.
Yeah. Häcken players, they were
all three Häcken players.
Yeah, they were like, yeah. We the only top team that we didn't manage to beat.
Yeah, it's true.
This season.
Best like team apart from Kalmar in Sweden in terms of atmosphere, maybe that you feel like you enjoyed playing.
I love the atmosphere at Tele2 Arena, but I hate the pitch. Football is not playing artificial.
Yeah, it's difficult. We have this old grass against artificial debate all the time. And in Sweden, of course, there's a lot more grass pitches, and certainly in Norway, there's hardly a grass pitch around these days. But in Sweden, it's, atmosphere-wise, I think I always look at Gothenburg there, but there's certainly the Stockholm one also.
Yeah. Many big games to play here. That's it was great. And home we had a very good atmosphere as well. So at the end, like every game had its own special feeling. So I was impressed by that.
Fantastic, really good stuff. And then just two final questions, basically. Number one, like, do you sort of analyze your games? You know, I know Henrik makes you, but do you enjoy that? If you know what I mean? And is that something that you quite enjoy doing? And how do you do that? Like, do you watch the matches?
I do it for a long time. I think since I moved from Brazil, I've been as much as I can get as data. I use maybe when I was younger, I wouldn't use that wise enough. I would be too hard on myself. Not that I'm not now, but I can be more reasonable and move on. So yeah, we do analyze right after the game. We have a team meeting. It might take an hour or two. No, not
or 3.
1 hour. Yeah, but then I have with the goalkeeper coach, we always analyze everything as well. And I love that. That's what moves me. Like I rather have like criticism and like. We look what we need to do better. Okay, there are things that we had as targets for certain matches, and then you go like, okay, this was good because we wanted that, but we're always looking what can we do better, what can we improve. And I love that. I think that's really important for me to feel like, okay, I'm taking steps. I'm looking for
improvement.
As I said before, improvement. In general. So
it's like we watched you a lot. Obviously, we watch a lot of the games, and you've made some like incredible saves this season. You know, I can think of some of the games where you've pulled out some brilliant saves. How mentally, like psychologically, how hard is it when you make a mistake? Like as a goalkeeper, like if you were giving advice to other goalkeepers.
I think the hardest thing is not to make a mistake. I think when it happened, it's just. I mean, you don't even process it if you are very well prepared and you know that you've done everything you could. It doesn't really hurt. I think what hurts the most is when you make a mistake because you're afraid of something. So this is also a thing that I've changed during the years. I've learned that the way I play, I move by willing to make it right instead of not make it wrong. You know what I mean? So it might sound the same thing, but when it comes to your mind, it works completely different. So you're gonna make mistakes. I take sometimes risks. I make bad judgments. I have had individual mistakes this season, unfortunately. A big one against Hammarby in the beginning of the game. And of course, that in a way hurts, but in the game, you don't feel it. Definitely, you cannot, because otherwise, I have had experience before where it did, but it's like a decision you have to make and accept that it will come. Because if you're, again, like I said, if everything you do, you're trying to not make a mistake, then your targets is you like thinking about the mistake instead of, no, I'm gonna do everything, make it right the best way. And then when you trust and you have like conviction with what you do, even when you make a mistake, like Henke, when we analyze, you say, yeah, you make a mistake here, but you have covered 10 balls that have saved us in this way. So if you made a mistake, we need to cover you up and help you there, because it will happen sometimes, and everyone will make mistakes.
Yeah, amazing. Good insight.
So I think that's the kind of mindset you need to work on. But you need the staff, the coach, your teammates to back you up, because the worst feeling as a goalkeeper is when you feel alone. Yeah. Because if you feel alone, then you play your own game and you make your saves, and then you don't care about the game anymore. Yeah. And I don't want to play for that. I want to play for winning. That's my main goal. If I win and I make 10 mistakes, I don't care. Yeah. At that game, of course, I need to work better next time. Yeah. But I want to win. I don't care if I play perfect game and we end up losing. That's not why I play football. So you need to find your like a balance. Yourself, and the balance, because it's. But you have to remain true to yourself. You need to know who you are as a goalkeeper, who you want to be, and I have it more clear now. And I have found the environment that helps me with that. So I think that's one of the reasons that I had succeed this season, for sure.
And then final question, amazing, like you've been so, really amazing insight. We looked at your transfer market. Obviously, you got a contract till 2023. A lot of rumors about Kalmar players at the moment, just because you had such a great season, finishing 4th. You finished above Malmo. You finished above AIK. You finished above IFK Göteborg. Like rumors about Henke, maybe Rydström, maybe moving to Malmo. Can you put to bed any rumors about you maybe leaving? Is there any interest? And if not, obviously, like you said, you love Kalmar. What's your ambitions? Maybe you said you want to play for 10 more years. Like what are your ambitions in the future, maybe?
Yeah, at the moment, I really want to enjoy this situation, this moment, this time with my family home, and get the feeling like really, I want to really appreciate everything that happened this season, because I'm not there yet. I need maybe a few more days.
Have you got your trophy? Have you got your trophy with you?
Yeah, I brought everything actually in my bags. I was so concerned that I would break the prices, but no, they're good here. They're nice. Home. They're safe. But in football, you never know. We talked before, Steve. Sometimes it's not even up to you. So what I can say, I can't control anything now. I know I have contract with Kalmar. I'm happy there. And if you would give me a clean sheet now for next season to draw any kind of dream I have, I don't know what to say, what I want, because I just want to live this moment. And I said it during the season as well, like for as long as I feel like in Kalmar I have a big purpose, and the association's goals and ambitions match mine, I want to continue. As long as I feel like, okay, I'm improving, I'm being like, I'm adding something to Kalmar, and I'm getting back as well. I want to be there. I have such a good relationship with the fans from the beginning as well. The way they have received my family, they really feel home there. Romario, not only a great player but a great man. His family just opened their front doors for us, and that also really helped. So we have everything in place in Kalmar, but you know how it is in football, and it's the same for Henke. He's happy there, and we talk now. As I said before, I left, and we both agree. Let's just live this moment. We don't know about tomorrow, but we want to be in Kalmar now, and we have contract. So That's what I can say. And about future, I don't know where my career will bring me, but for sure, I want to really enjoy the game for as long as I can, because it takes a lot, sometimes you get exhausted of it, guys, how it is, but also gives you a lot as well. And if you find your purpose doing this, then you cannot do anything else. So I really hope I can stay healthy and have a long career ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I've got one question before
Okay.
we go. You'll like this one, actually. I feel a bit like Gary Neville on the overlap here. Imagine this is the last minute of the game of a cup final. You are leading leading 1-0.
Okay.
And the opposition have got given a penalty. Okay, it's going to be the last kick of the game. You cannot pick yourself here. Which goalkeeper in the world right now do you want to try and save that penalty?
Right now, Porto's goalkeeper.
Oh yeah, Costa.
Costa, yes, he's.
Really?
I mean, the chance that he's gonna save again maybe is very low, because he's saving everything. But the guy's got some skills now.
Yeah, he's good.
At the moment, you know how it is football. You have to pick who is best now, and tomorrow is gonna be a new one. But now I think he's done incredibly well.
Diego
Mellors da Costa.
Yeah, he's linked with Manchester United, linked with him apparently.
Yeah.
Very good answer. Thank you.
And I'm going to have to do one more question, because I was going to ask something. What you said about you don't have control, about where you said sometimes players don't have control.
Yeah.
Because the business side of football, in terms of like, obviously sometimes it might be the club or an agent or something like that wants to work the market a little bit. You know what I mean? Can you just, like you said there, like sometimes you don't have. Can you just explain that a little bit in terms of, are there situations? Maybe
what we talked before, remember, Steve, is like, if you taking steps in your career, and so what we said before, I think is quite right. Is like, if certain offer comes, there's some things that you cannot say no, because you cannot go backwards. If you can take steps forward, you will. What's the step forward? I don't know now. I cannot tell you. And for sure, for me to take me away from where I am now in Kalmar has to be something really, really attractive, really like life changing.
Yeah.
But if that comes, will I be wrong if I move? I cannot. It's like, I cannot say no. You know what I mean?
Maybe not for you, but have you ever seen that in football, where a player like is loving where he is, but then, like I said, the club or an agent or something wants to move him? Have you seen that? Is that normal, or do you know what I mean? Like, just to understand from a player.
Yeah, I've seen it. But then it depends how the player is, his personality, and how much he is influenced by his agent, or sometimes his family, or sometimes the whole environment. Because I think only few times the player does what he really wants. My decision is about my family now, mainly. I have taken decision in my career that was about me taking a new step. When I moved to Turkey, it was about my family. Now it was about me and my family in Kalmar, and it was a perfect match.
Yeah.
So it depends the profile of the player, but yes, there's many situations where you feel like, he was pushed out, or he had to go. He didn't want. He was happy there.
Yeah.
And then, never really ends up in a good way. I think you can see the outcomes. Sometimes you wonder, like, why this player didn't succeed. Maybe at the first place he never wanted to move.
Yeah.
So I think it's so much about the business. We talked before, Steve, that you don't see players staying in the same club for a longer time anymore, because I think not even the clubs want that. It's like such a rotation. You need 100%. To just players come in, move out. They don't want to, or most of the clubs, they don't want to have those players with the to be the club's face for such a long time, because they also get power, they also get more influence over everything that's decided. But then when it comes to business, that can be tricky. Yeah. And that's a shame, because the game loses a lot. I'll be a player that I would love to play my whole career in the same club if I would find a place where but I know that's not possible, because the club will not appreciate you. Yeah. And if at some point you're not performing the way they want, another player will come and take your place, and nobody will ever remember. So it's hard to say that, but you have to be some certain way of selfish. Yeah. Like you have to look after you and your family at the end, for as difficult that can be, because I really care. I don't want to play in a place that I don't care about what's going on there. I want to, like I said, everywhere I always say, like, when I leave here, I want to leave this place better than when I came. And one day I want to come back here and be welcome in the front door. I always want to leave the doors open. Yeah. But it's difficult. But it's difficult. It's tough, because you cannot please everybody.
Yeah, of course. Well, you described Kalmar and Ricardo as a perfect match. So we'll leave it there. That could even be the episode title. Who knows? Yeah. A perfect match is great, and you've been fantastic this season. Congratulations on winning Allsvenskan best goalkeeper. It's a huge achievement. So again,
thank you guys. I'm so happy to join you guys. I think
thank you. You've been absolutely brilliant.
I needed this. Now I can close the book. 2022 is over. Just closing the. So
the only one thing you've got to do this season now is retweet when we post it.
Okay, no problem.
I'm joking.
I'll do it right away.
But no, thank you so much, Ricardo Friedrich. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much indeed.
See you again soon. Enjoy your time in Brazil.
See you next season, huh?
Yeah. Feliz Natal.
Go win that league next season. Smash it next season.
Obrigado. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ricardo.
Thank you, guys.
That was Ricardo Friedrich on the Nordic Football Podcast. We thank him once again for his generous time and what was a fantastic interview, one of my favourite ever on the Nordic Football Podcast. You can actually follow Ricardo on Twitter at R1 Friedrich, and you spell that Friedrich. But well worthy of the Allsvenskan Goalkeeper of the Year award. Absolutely brilliant interview, and we wish him all the very best for the future. You can follow the podcast at Nordic Foot Pod. You can follow Jonathan Verdugba at JF Football, and you can follow myself, Steve Wiss, at Meatman Soccer. We'll be back for more very soon, but once again, goodbye from this episode, and thanks again to Ricardo.